Hello everyone, today I'm going to be making a video showing off the new cards that were released or going to be released for branded. The ones in particular I'm showing off is Fallen of the White Dragon, which is a Fallen of Albaz substitute, and then also Ecclesia of the Black Dragon, the two recently revealed cards that are quite powerful. Very, very, very powerful. For those wondering why I'm not playing 3 copies of this card, to quickly explain how this works, um, in the parentheses at the top, you'll notice it says this card is always treated as quote unquote Fallen of Albaz. That is considered a clause, which means it's always active on the card no matter what. So it's a factor even in deck building. So that's why I'm on 2 of this and 1 of the original Albaz, which I'll refer to as Old Albaz and New Albaz. Um, if I could play 3 of this and like 1 of this, I would, but you're simply not allowed to. Uh, the Ecclesia of the Black Dragon, I think this card's astonishingly powerful, and I think it's not getting the respect it deserves. I think it's even more powerful than the new Albaz. However, that is in the context of the fact that the new Albaz exists. Like, if they just printed this card without this card wouldn't be that crazy. But because this card exists, this card is like double crazy. This is an astonishingly powerful effect. Feel free to pause and read it if you'd like, but the TLDR is it has 2 effects. The first effect is the field effect, where as a quick effect, you can banish this thing and it comes back in the end phase. And if you do successfully do that, you can summon Albaz or anything that mentions Albaz from your deck, which is, lo and behold, you, or well, this isn't level 4 or lower, my bad. But you get the idea. It's a lot. It's like most majority of the dex monsters. That isn't like Aluber. Um, the other effect is a recycling effect and also disruption. Um, it is if this card's in your graveyard, you can target a level 8 fusion in your graveyard or banishment and 1 card on the field, and then all 3 of them go back, including this card. So let's say, just as an example, you use you've done your combo, you've done all your stuff, and then on like your next turn, you use Fallen the Virtuous to pitch the other one, so that you have follow up on your next turn if you want, or you could do like this one or this one or this one, or like it got blown up with like Raigeki or whatever. At some point in time, this wound up in your graveyard, and then your turn comes around, you can activate this, um, and then everything can come back. You would target, like, let's say maybe your Red Albion, or Rinbrum, or Granguinol that's in your banish, or what have you, and then that plus one of their cards, which can be any card that they have, or yours as well. Um, Extremely versatile card. And then this thing comes back, so you can summon it again, do the effect again, or set it up, what have you. Um, for those wondering why Psy Framelord Omega is here, this is because this is honestly the best generic level 8 synchro that we have access to that is like playably good. Um, Although I do want to show off a card real quick that has not been fully revealed yet, but is still noteworthy. All right, so on pause to load up this page here. So here we have the 3 Brave Sword Souls. It's a level 8. Who knows? Probably I'm going to assume this is a spellcaster because all 3 of the people depicted here are spellcasters. Synchro effect monster, and has an effect that we don't know what it is. We don't know what its materials are. We don't know. If I were to make a guess, if I were just to take a shot in the dark, um, it's going to have some kind of reactionary disruption, and it's going to require a some monster plus like a tuner, and the tuner has to be like a light spellcaster, which these guys are, as well as Ecclesia. That's what I think this will be. And then like most of the fleur-de-lis cards, which is the girl in the center here, and she's doing the bulk of the work, just like most of the lore. Um, I would assume she's gonna like have some kind of effect that like triggers when something like leaves the extra deck, or like an effect happens, or your opponent summons something from whatever, and like because we've seen like fleur de lis effects like over time, and like generally that's what it is. It tends to be a reactionary card. So I think once this card is revealed, that it will like pretty easily just slot right into this spot, and then Omega would no longer be run. Um, so I have a couple combos to show you. Uh, Hopefully a lot better than the ones that many people on YouTube have been showing, which aren't great. I've watched the replays and I'm unfortunately very unimpressed. So here's hoping that this will give you some food for thought on how you could play these decks better, or rather the new cards specifically. I'm trying to show off the new cards essentially. Quick note, and I'll update it for the link that I'll leave in the description. But the Golden Sword Soul isn't in this deck list. I must have just forgot to click it, or because I just usually don't play that card. But for this deck, you want to use it. I'll fix that for the video. Okay, so here's the first combo, and this combo will be showcasing simply using this card by itself. Most people have already seen this combo, but I'll perform it anyway. So, you um, you could debate whether or not you want to send Titaniclad or Red Albion. I think it's correct to send Titaniclad first. You'll send both over the course of the combo. However, this is of course vulnerable to disruption, such as Imperm, Valor, and other forms of targeted negation I may not know of. Um, so I think Titaniclad is the better thing to send first, because Quem is generally speaking better than just a random set from Albion. So we'll do that. Field effect. Summon her. Tag effect. Unfortunately, this isn't in my deck, but it is what it is. But we're summoning Golden Sword Soul. Okay. Then we're going to make the new Ecclesia Synchro. Effect. Now you want to be mindful of the fact, so the reason why we're doing this, to quickly explain, the reason why we're going to bother getting the Golden Sword Soul, because those paying attention will have noticed that they have the same stats. They're both level 4 light spellcaster tuners. So there is merit to simply just going straight there and making the Ecclesia Synchro straight away. However, the perk of the Golden Sword Soul is that if you take the time and play the Garnet, basically, uh, to you'll generate a free material. So there are situations, now that we're tagging out the Ecclesia Synchro, there are situations in which getting Kit is correct, Quem is correct, or Cartesia is correct. However, for the simple one card combo, it's Cartesia that we'll be getting. These guys trigger. Ecclesia comes back. And now, if we had not done the Golden Sword Soul, we would not have been able to do that. So now we're going to make Granguinal using these two. I'll go over here. I'm admittedly not super familiar with this client, so if I'm like stumbling or going slow in certain parts, that's just why. I'm just not used to this client, like seeing the Chinese characters and all that stuff. It's just tripping me up periodically. All right, and here you could set like whatever, right? Whatever you have in your hand, and we're just assuming the art cards are all dead, etc., etc. standard YouTube combo stuff. Of course, in the end phase, we have a lot of triggers that occur here. So, first things first, bring back your Ecclesia, because that's going to happen no matter what. Cartesia will bring back to hand because she's good discard fodder. Titanic Clad, we're going to, of course, summon Quem. And then we're going to send Old Albaz. There is, so I'll explain in a second why I'm doing this. Just go through all the steps of it. I'll be saying the Fallen and the Virtuous. Now, oh, Retribution's already on the field, but that would normally be an option as well since I only play one of it. But typically, you'll be offered to set Retribution, Fallen the Virtuous, or Branded in Red. There are scenarios in which each of them are correct. So, if you're afraid of evenly matched and you have no, like, let's say this Ecclesia wasn't here, you couldn't get to Cartesia that way. You could set Brandon in red so you could fuse with your Quem or what have you and throw a card onto their field. But since I do have ways to make Sanctifier, I'm not going to do that, and I'm going to set Fallen the Virtuous instead. And this is going to come back to hand. Again, very good discard fodder. Okay. I'm just going to quickly show this because this is why I think setting Fallen the Virtuous is better. Under normal circumstances, the opponent would, of course, be summoning several monsters. But let's pretend that they just have a monster that's just begging to be disrupted. You have two options when you activate this, both of which are potent, but you'll be doing one a lot more than the other. For starters, you can destroy something and sending something from the extra deck to the graveyard, or if you have an Ecclesia on your field or graveyard, you can target a monster on either graveyard and special summon it to your field. So we could summon Albaz outright, fuse with this, and then, go off that way. Or if they, for some reason, had a monster that we dealt with, like maybe, or however many number of ways that things can end up in the graveyard, we can attempt to steal them, such as lots of like link spam decks, for example, will like to link climb, and then they'll Splash Mage is a good example where Splash Mage will like target like a Link 2 or something in their graveyard that they just made, or Transcode Talker, I think, is the one that usually does that. I think I may have mixed them up for a second. And you could like yoink one and it like screws up their combo real bad. So for this we'll destroy because I want to show what happens after this. So we'll send Red Albion. Well, I mean, you could send the best sends are Red Albion, Rinbrum, and other Ecclesia. For different reasons. Red Albion, of course, is going to get you very potent follow-up. You can search Branded Fusion for your turn 3, etc. Rinbrum is another way to summon Albaz, but we're about to do that, so no need. And then Ecclesia here is just really good to just for follow-up on the next turn. However, you could still just do this on your upcoming turn with another copy of Fallen the Virtuous from Red Albion. So for the sake of versatility, I think more often than not, it's correct to send Red Albion. And then you just pop. No. And now we see Quem, because something left the extra deck, Quem can trigger here. And then we could summon Albaz. I swear I'm double clicking it. And of course, I don't have anything to fuse with, but I could discard Ecclesia, and then let's say they have like 2 guys on the field. I could make Dogma Devouring, or it's still called Stigmata Devouring here. But and and then the tower's effect is online and I double spin, or I could make Mirror Jade, or I could make, the list goes on and on and on and on. You get the idea. This is just extremely like for just a one card combo, and like I haven't even tagged out this Ecclesia yet. Like let's say this Albaz has now transformed into Mirror Jade, just for the sake of example. I can go get Mercurier. Like a lot of people don't know this, but Mercurier's negation effect works from the field too. So, or I could get Cartesia and fuse for something if I were to want to do that. For example, um, let's say I were to get Albaz back to the field again throughout the course of my turn through any number of means. I could then fuse Cartesia plus him together to make like Sacramentum Dragoon, which I think is this is just the OCG name that they haven't updated yet. I guess this is called Secretarian Dragon in TCG or English, I should say. But like you can just get Mercurier, and now you have a monster negate on top of everything else, and then like this comes back. Oh, what do I feel like getting? It's like, oh cool, I get Branded Fusion, add to hand. So, like that's the general gist of what the cards do. The Albaz will make just setting up your board easier and more reliable, and this card here is just crazy because it's active every turn. It's card advantage every turn. It's just so good. Just so good. Because and keep in mind, this is deck or graveyard that it summons from. Unfortunately, not if it. Oh God, if it worked from banish, my God. Um, so like you could like let's say throughout the course of your turn you've pitched Mercurier or like Quem died, and you don't want to get the other one out from your deck because you're trying to be like resource efficient, or any number of things right could have happened. You just summon it back, and now you just have your negate or your fusion or your what have you, just over and over and over and over. It's so good, so good. All right, so that's enough for this combo. Now I'm gonna go in and show you some two card combos, which will have the real that's what will really show you the power of these cards. Okay, for this combo, we are going to be looking at new Albaz plus Aluber via either hard draw Aluber and you normal summon him, or branded opening. Of course, in the case of branded opening, you'll typically have other things to do because you'll have conserved your normal summon. But for the sake of the example, let's just assume that that's what we're doing. So we're going to lead with Albaz. We're going to pitch Titaniclad, same as before. Now this is like very strong imperm bait, so if they have Valor or imperm or what have you, they're probably going to use it here. Obviously they're not going to use Ash Blossom because they're still fearful of branded fusion and so on, but it's good to do this effect first and go through this series of things to see what the opponent is going to do and if they're even capable of anything. Because you would not, if they have Valor or Imperm, they should have stopped this at Albaz. And if you're watching this video wondering where do I hand trap this, do not let this card resolve once it's on the field, because you're just going to, like, if they get to this, you've already fallen behind. Like, you'll Imperm this, and then they just do it on the next turn anyway, and it's going to come back regardless. So you're just, when you're performing hand trap effects, generally speaking, you want to do 1-for-1 effects or things that are like very potent, like blowouts. Imperming this Cartesia is not a 1-for-1 because the card stays and they just perform the effect next turn. Okay, so branded opening. So we're doing this last after having made this, and we're about to perform its other effect because this branded opening has a stipulation that the lock for the extra deck being fusion monsters is after the card resolves. So we would like to do this first. Now this is a tricky combo. I'll say it straight up. This is a tricky combo. What we're going to do. Hold on. Sorry about that pause. Anyway, we're summoning Cartesia, given the circumstances of our hand, where it's just we have no way. If we could asterisk, if we could make a card leave the extra deck, say with like Branded High Spirits or what have you, and fish back Cartesia that way, we may be able to do that. However, we don't have that. So Cartesia. This is also an unfortunate thing since we're using branded opening. We won't be able to. Hold on. Here we go. Sorry, I'm just so not used to this UI. I know it's like very similar, but it's just off in all the like weirdest ways that's just throwing me off. Okay, we're gonna grab branded lost. So this is gonna look a little weird, but bear with me. Grabbing branded lost is correct here. Okay, activate. Wait for it to resolve. Now we're going to Cartesia. Make Granguinol with her plus Aluber. Aluber has a graveyard effect, so it's nice to get him to the graveyard. Sequence these. Now, we already have Kit in our hand, because that's just how our opening hand was, but just bear with me and assume that we don't. Um, and I'm going to grab, obviously doesn't matter, Albaz, I guess. Or, yeah, Albaz, sure. Again, doesn't matter because the intent is that we're getting Kit here. And then off of Granguinol, we're going to pitch the Red Albion that we were not able to pitch before. And now this is where you would have Kit in your hand, but not, yeah, you get it. And then from her, we're going to grab Branded and White. And then put back, whatever. This is the unfortunate part. If you use Branded Opening for this part of the combo, so if you aren't fusion locked, you can make Omega using Kit plus like Ecclesia here, but we don't have that, so we're just gonna keep these as they are and use them as fusion material. Now here's the real debate: is what do we make here? Because we have two primary options, in my opinion. We can go for Mirror Jade or we can go for Rinbrum. Depending on the meta, one may be better than the other, but generally speaking, making Mirror Jade tends to be one of the best things we can do. So I think just doing that is best. Be mindful when you're performing these combos of your zones, because I noticed while performing test hands and whatnot with various 2-card and 3-card combos that you will fill up your board a lot. Like, it is very easy to fill up your board with this deck. All right. So that's the bulk of the combo. If you aren't fusion locked, you would make Omega here, and then like Omega can start like putting cards back for you, like Golden Sword Soul, so that they can do their thing again, and like so on and so on, right? Anyway, end phase, bunch of abilities. Number one, we're gonna get you back. Cartesia to hand. Nope. Titaniclad. Summon Quem. So this is interesting because under normal circumstances, what people have been doing for a very long time is that they'll send Albaz here, which isn't incorrect, and but there's a debate for it now because you could also send like Tri-Brigade Springan's kit, and if you had done so, you could, for example, like let's say if I wanted to, asterisk, big asterisk here, if I wanted to, I could have left Cartesia in the graveyard, sent kit, and then reborn the Cartesia, which if I had, let's say, an Albaz in my hand, just maybe other, new Albaz or old Albaz or what have you, that may be correct. But I think just sending old Albaz here is fine. And then here again, we are faced with an option. You can do Branded in red. You can do Fallen the Virtuous. Brand Retribution was in my opening hand, or else that would have been an option. So, and since you added Cartesia back to, so one thing you could also do is, well, no, you can't because Granguinol's used. I talked myself out of it, realizing I was incorrect. So it's really just a debate between these two, and I think the main thing comes down to whether or not you have Sanctifier access or not, which we do. So I'm just going to set Fallen the Virtuous. Let me just pause this. Oh, cool. The pause button actually works. Interesting. So we can see here that this is just a very, very powerful board. Mirror Jade, Quem, Incredible Ecclesia is not bad at all. This can tag out to Albaz if you want to, if you had kept him in your deck, or you can summon the other one to get card advantage. This one works from the graveyard, so you can go get Albaz that way. It's just there's just so much you can do. There's just so much you can do. I don't think, in hindsight, I don't think sending Albaz was correct. If I could do it again, I would probably send like Shrouded or something. So there's an Albaz name in the graveyard, but and to set up like potential follow up. Or I could have left Cartesia in here, and then I could have reborn her off of Kit, and then on my turn I could have fused or like summoned Albaz in any number of ways. Like let's say I could have done Kit, tag out to new Albaz effect, reborn her. Well, you wouldn't even do that because the board's so full, because this card's still here. As I just remember that I still have Kit on the field. The last time I did this, Omega was here and I had one less spot functionally. But yeah, there's a lot you can do. This is super powerful. So let's go on to the next combo. Okay, we're back. That took a lot more resets than I would have liked. This combo is going to be for Quem plus new Albaz. So we're going to start by normal summoning Quem. If they have an imperm, they probably do it here every time. But we're going to assume it resolved. And obviously we're ignoring the Cartesia in our hand. And we're going to be, otherwise we would pitch like Shrouded or something. But we're just going to be sending this Cartesia. And then we activate Albaz, and we're going to be sending Red Albion. We don't need to worry about Titaniclad very much because we've already gotten Quem onto the field. Okay. Now the combo is going to look pretty similar to what you saw before. We're going to, for starters, while we're under Cartesia protection, not that we would not have gotten impermed already anyway, but okay. Then we make Ecclesia Synchro this way and make sure we use this. What? Do they have a response? It just like flashed over to that side for a second. Confused me. Oh well. Okay. You. Now again, we have options, but really the best one by a pretty wide margin here is going to be Old Kit. Old Kit can grab us branded in white, and then that can allow us to go further because we have Albaz in our graveyard, so we're going to do that. Bring this back. And I already have branded in white in my hand, so you're just going to have to pretend I'm getting branded in white out of my deck. So what I grab here doesn't matter. Cool. And now you're going to fuse with Cartesia to make Granguinol. So I was just thinking and making sure I wasn't messing this up. U plus U. Oh, that's not where I wanted it, but it won't matter. Again, we got options here, but I think the best send is going to be Titaniclad in this position. You'll see why in a second. And then now we're going to use Branded in White. We're going to make Mirror Jade this way. Albaz here, you here. And then we make Omega. And then that's now we go to the end phase, and of course all the bonus effects happen. So for starters, you come back, you trigger. Did I not pitch Titaniclad? I did. Maybe I was just not paying attention. Set Fall on the Virtuous. Titaniclad. Get other Quem. Cartesia to hand. And then the probability that we're going to be summoning Albaz is like pretty good. So I think adding Ecclesia back to hand here is correct. Interestingly, this will trigger, and then you can put one of these back into the graveyard for yourself. So I think Golden Sword Soul is actually like really good here. That resets that for you. And let me bring this up. So it says you can, if a monster is banished face up, you can banish this card from your field or graveyard, and it's now back in the graveyard. And you special summon a light spellcaster whose attack equals its own defense. So there are options for this, of course. We have Quem in the graveyard, and I believe, let me double check the Golden Sword Soul. Yeah, hand or graveyard. So that'll enable you to get Ecclesia out of your hand if you need to, just as an option. But during their turn, Omega's not really gonna do anything. If I had been more like well, these only can do the main phase anyway, but like I can hand rip, like, and then this will trigger Golden Sword Soul, and then like I can reborn Quem, or I could like just watch. No, like I can, not that I would ever do it, but I could resummon Granguinal, or I could do like Cartesia, Ecclesia, Quem, like all like valid options. Cartesia is likely the best, just theoretically. And again, we just have so many options. It's just very powerful end board. Makes Quem like a very potent starter. I'll do one more combo, and I'll try and make this one a 3-card combo that'll be a bit more intricate and probably a bit more realistic for what you'll see in games, given how engine heavy branded tends to be. Alright, so after like a dozen resets, I got a hand that I think like helps portray the new cards a bit better. I kept getting like just like branded fusion, like OG branded fusion combos, which like you could mold to the new cards a little bit, but like still just doing branded fusion stuff is better. This hand is like quite interesting. We got I kind of just want to show off. I thought about like doing just like a 3-card combo, but like 3-card combos aren't like really a thing. What's realistically going to happen is that you're gonna have a hand and you're just gonna try to do your best with it, basically. So this is gonna be a bit of like theoretical territory, like me just Watson my way through the combo to try and find the most optimal end board possible. This hand is obviously astonishingly powerful for going first. Crazy, crazy, crazy powerful. So we're going to lead with Albaz, and we're going to pitch Titaniclat. Well, it depends on what we want to do. No, because I don't want to. I don't want to like my hand size is a bit constraining here for what I would like to do. There was a line where I could branded opening, pitch Cartesia, get Quem, and then Quem could pitch Kit, and then Kit reborns Cartesia for me. But I want to try this first because the reason why I'm doing it this way is because branded opening locks you. So if I were to do the opening play first, I would lose access to the synchro, which I think is better than a slightly better Quem plus Cartesia, because it's just recurring value and so powerful. Oh, I should have long played this by now. Kind of forgot. That's my Discord, by the way, not you. Now, again, we're going to be mindful that we cannot use branded fusion here. So the question becomes, what's the best thing to grab out of the deck? We have no targets for branded high spirits, not that we would really want to use it. So I believe the angle here is going to be branded in white, and we can make Mirror Jade that way. Kind of like we did in the 2-card combo, except this is just going to be a bit more cards on the field and whatnot. Alright. Cartesia effect first. And then this is where it gets interesting, where we decide what we're going to do here. I think the best thing to summon here is actually going to be Old Kit, because we can get rid of this branded opening that kind of isn't doing anything in our hand right now. We can get a additional card to set for their upcoming turn. Although there is, we'll be getting Mercurier off of Lost. So we'll do this. Also, again, I don't want to fusion lock myself because I plan on making Omega here. And then, I mean, it doesn't super matter. I'll grab Fall in the Virtue. Well, there is merit to grabbing Branded in Red, because you could do Branded in Red, target Albaz, and then like do something with that. But I don't think it like super matters. But we'll grab it just, and then this goes back. Okay, now we will make Ganguinal using U plus U. Turn that off. Ganguinal effect, Branded Lost effect. Here, we're going to grab, I'm pretty sure Mercurier is the best. I'm considering grabbing Shrouded, but I think just grabbing Mercurier and keeping it simple is better. And then this is a bit more difficult. I'm just going to assume sending you is best. Now here we have a bit of an interesting situation, because we can make Secretarian Dragon. So I'm just going to go through the options and discuss them like one at a time. If we were to make Secretarian Dragon, we could bring back Cartesia for their turn and then shuffle back. Actually, I guess that wouldn't really work super well, because Albaz will be banished for that. So it actually doesn't work. Okay, moving on. Mirror Jade is Mirror Jade. I'm not going to stew on debating Mirror Jade. We know he's a very powerful effect. He's kind of like our go-to. The real question becomes Rinbrum or not, and I think the answer is no, because we can make Omega instead, and then have Omega plus Mirror Jade plus like all the other stuff. So I think this is actually just better. Mirror Jade to the EMZ. And then Omega. Set that branded in red. And we got triggers. Oh boy. Oh man. This is so delicate. Feels like I can mess up at any moment, because I'm just not used to the new cards. Like, I'm seeing white cards on my branded fields, synchro monsters. Ugh. I'm just so not used to it. Just completely different headspace. Am I sending this Albaz? Probably. Well, I have Omega. So again, walking through the thought process, I have Omega, and Omega is going to be putting Golden Sword Soul back into my graveyard for me, which means Mirror Jade will trigger them, or sending Ecclesia, the Black Dragon, away. There's just so many ways to get to Albaz. I just don't think pitching him is correct. Yeah, it's just hmm. I could send Brandon in High Spirits to generate more card advantage. I could send Albion the Shrouded Dragon as just a Albaz name in the graveyard that isn't like one of the other ones. Uh, I could send New Kit. New Kit would then reborn Cartesia for me, so that's worth thinking about. Would I prefer Cartesia to be on the field or in my hand right now? It's a challenging question. Sorry, there's construction work outside, and that's what the banging is, and I'm just still here thinking. Um, so let's so, but I have Brandon in red, so I can fuse with Cartesia in my hand anyway, if I really wanted to, or I could just summon a Cartesia from deck, and I'll get Albaz into rotation off of Ecclesia plus like Golden Sword Soul, and I even have like a plan B for it. Oh, it's so. Hmm. Maybe I send Brandon in High Spirits because that'll give me additional discard fodder. I think I'll do that. Feel safer. Would love to set this card. And then do we bring this? Let me double check Golden Sword Soul. I'm just so not used to this card. I'm sorry. Hand or graveyard. Okay, so I have no reason not to do this then. This is the yeah. And again, we're presented with um, a lot of points of interaction. So that's the video. Let's go. I'm just gonna close this. Give me 1 second. Because like I don't think I need to show you like, oh hey, I can mirror jade this. I could blow it up. I've branded in red. I could tag out to whatever I want. I could hand rip them for one. I should have if I had this set to. Well, I think they get priority or whatever. But regardless, I just have so much I can do. Brandon Red is ridiculous. Like I have Mercurier in my hand. If I get an Albaz in the rotation and into the graveyard, or I could even like grab Aluber and then like fuse off of like for example, I could do Ecclesia of the Black Dragon and I summon new Albaz, or I guess I can do it instead of talking about it. Just as an example, we'll grab new Albaz. And then because she went away, I could do either of these. However, just for the sake of like, I'm not going to use Golden Sword Soul yet. So Albaz, I'm not going to activate this, and then Ecclesia is going to come from my hand to here. And now like Ecclesia could tag out for me if I wanted her to. And of course, there's like the hand rip that I can do. So just clear the. And again, that triggers this for me if I wanted to do that. And then like I could go like this. Like let's say they're threatening me. They did. Let's say they didn't summon this monster and they said end of main and they're trying to go to battle phase. I could like just very easily like now like this plus this I have Fall of the White Dragon plus Cortesia here, like that Sanctifier. Just like so. Or I can make Sacramentum, like let's say they're Draco Tail or whatever, and they present a Draco Tail card, and then suddenly I just go, you know what? Here, have fun playing through this Floodgate. But let's say I do this instead. And then now I have, Sanctifier here. And like now this is triggered, um, which probably isn't worth triggering right now, but like Branded Lost certainly is, just for the free card. I can get like, whatever I want. I could get Kit because if she's pitched to the graveyard for any reason, and I, could summon Albaz, they'll proceed to like do the thing. So I guess I'll show off that because why not? So tag out you, Fallen of Albaz. You're a beast? Sure. Well, it won't let me go back. I thought about going back and showing off like more stuff. Like let's say Mirror J were to be used up at this point, and I could just reborn it off of Springen's kit. It's just so much stuff, man. It really is. Like Quem triggers, I can get something back. It's just, um, it's just so much, just so much. But yeah, that's the bulk of the combos. And like you see, it just keeps going. Like I can grab Kit here, and I can add whatever I want to my hand. I have like nothing in my banish zone. It feels that's a spell trap. Um, it just feels like the world's my oyster. Like I do whatever I want, pretty much. Oh, like it just keeps going. The new cards are so powerful. They present an entire new dynamic to the deck, and it's just so much. It really is. I can't even bring this back. I'm pretty sure. Oh, it goes to the graveyard. Wait, is that how that works? Wait. Once per turn during the main phase until you're. Yeah, I did that. And then once per turn. I guess if your board is full, it has nowhere to go and it goes to the graveyard instead? Okay. I don't play with this card. I'm sorry. I didn't know that. Like board full, it goes to the graveyard instead, I guess. Cool. All right, let's wrap this up. All right, here we go. So back to the deck list. I've updated it with Golden Sword Soul, which was supposed to be here originally. Oops. Um, but there's just the deck feels so good. Maybe I'll add a copy of Gold Sarcophagus just so you have a way to banish like Tragedy or Mercurier. So you can get like, for example, like hard opening. Like I'll probably do that now actually as I say that out loud because it's just so. The new Albaz is so good of like a starter because it doesn't use your normal summon. So you go like Gold Sark, pitch Mercurier. Here, I just did that on my phone, so it should work. There it is. Cool. Nice clean 50 as well. If you're in TCG, cut this and maybe run Fuelos instead, and it's like a very citable card. Side deck here is just like options. I wasn't like sure. Brand banishment feels like super unnecessary now. Um, we're no longer going through traditional lines, so very often, I think you won't be doing. I mean, like you still have your typical brain infusion line where you go uh, summon Aluber, either with Aluber himself or like branded opening, or you did like Foolish Burial, Gold Sark, or not that you would Gold Sark for that here, but you get what I mean. You've done Aluber in some way. You get branded fusion. You branded fusion successfully. You make Red Albion with a sending Bishop Rebellion plus Fallen of Albaz, and then you have your Red Albion effect, and you make like Fusion Rebellion, and then Fusion Rebellion makes Mirror Jade after recycling those back to or Albaz back to the deck, including itself. You tribute over Red Albion to make to get Bishop Rebellion, which is then branded Lost, and so on and so on and so on. That's the standard branded line that we've been doing for like the past year plus, effectively, ever since Bishop Rebellion was added to the game, really, which was 2 years ago almost, year and a half, or well, yeah, something like that. Very long time, very long time. But um, the sheer versatility and that the new cards give you and like overall power levels just so high. I'd even bring up the fact that you could go like Albaz effect. Like let's say you're going second, you hard open Super Poly because Super Poly is a great card. You hard open Super Poly and you go like Albaz effect to summon himself, and you pitch like Ecclesia of the Black Dragon, right? Knowing you have Super Poly in your hand, and then like you go um, Albaz effect on the field because you're going to be summoning your incredible Ecclesia, who's going to then try and summon regular Albaz, and then they like either can't respond to it or they do, or like maybe imperm or like some kind of targeted negation or whatever, and then you're like Super Poly, and then you make Mirror Jade or Dogma Devouring. This is probably like the best you could do. Take like two of their guys, depending on like what the opponent is playing, or if they're like playing Draco Tail or whatever, you do like Secretarian and floodgate them that way, because a lot of their effects occur on the field. And there's, it's just so much. Um, Unfortunately, we won't be getting these cards for a year probably, but it's just a very good like thought experiment, like what they're capable of. I was using Omega in that game, but like the new Fleur de Lis is probably going to be even better than this. So just be mindful of that in like the future, like a month from now when they reveal that card's effect. And it's very likely just going to be superior to this in every way in terms of like functionality for the deck. It's probably going to be more personalized. Probably going to do something related to like disruption and just present a better end board piece that way. But this video has been carrying on for nearly an hour, so I hope you enjoyed a 1 hour overview of the new cards and some things you can do with them. Here's to seeing them in like a year. Bye.